things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Oh, look at me. I forgot to turn that thing off or put me up. I forget which happens first, last, or indifferently. Hang on a minute. I'll click that off. Oh, and with a bit of luck, I'm there. Hello, how are you? All the buttons are everywhere. Thought I'd leave that chart up just for you to have a little bit of a look at. Haven't talked about it for the last couple of days, but gold and silver have both been up and both been down. Gold has been through the $5,000 mark a couple of occasions in the last few days. It's now back below it at $4,970.58. I think yesterday I looked at it, it was about 5,015. I saw it as high as 5,050, I think, or thereabouts. And the silver price currently sitting at $50.43 per ounce, which is down about $4 on what I saw as a high over the last couple of days. Now, if you're one of those people who gets to play the market a little bit and play the gold and silver game, you probably made yourself a bit of money there. If you obviously bought cheap and sold at 54.5 or even a bit higher dollars per ounce, and now it's back able to be bought again at 50, you could be back into the cycle. Silver, I know some people who play that game, they've got to have a fair bit of silver to play with. And they're saying they've made a fair bit of money in the last week or so watching and riding the precious metals market. Ainsley Bullion, of course, can give you all the details. They've got all the graphs. They've got all the monitors. And can I just tell you that they are also going to be coming to Gympie. And they're going to be coming to Gympie this Sunday. So if you're in that area, please come along. It's 1 p.m. to about 3:30 at 735 Mary Valley Road, Long Flat, which is Gympie. And you can learn why gold and silver have stood the test of time and why they are proving to be such a great investment right now. Also, Mary Jane from Freedom Financial Solutions will be there to talk about self-managed super funds. And if you are unaware of what plans there are for your super fund at the moment, well, depending on how much money you've got in it, and certainly for people with over $3 million in their super account, and that's probably not too many of us, there are some significant changes ahead with the Labor government being re-elected. If that is the case, then you can expect somewhere between $9 and $10 billion of extra money being pulled from those people with over $3 million in their super account to be pulled by the government for their use. Now, it doesn't affect too many of us, and you're probably saying, okay, well, if you've got $3 million in super, you can probably afford to pay a bit more. However, that's not the point. The fact is that the government have done this retrospectively, and they could, if they so deemed, take it from your super as well. You have no control over it, and super has taken a big hit in the last few days. Plus, there has been a data breach in Big Super. And everybody's a bit quiet about it at the moment because they're not exactly sure how much data and personal data that has been taken. But it's apparently quite a lot, and it all had to do with something called an S3 box that was left open, and that box contained a lot of people's information, some, well, over 15,000 admitted, but there could be a lot more to it than that. So some interesting things going on in the world. Now, I forgot to start off the show by saying hello to everybody. Who was first up? Spazza was first in the house tonight. Quarter to 6, mate. You must have been watching for got the message pretty much as soon as I put it up. I think it was around that time I put it up. Hope you're doing well, brother. The lovely Rachel. The world has gone mad enough for you. Pick and choose what you're putting your energy into. I think we're all a bit like that. And you can tell by my hair, there is absolutely no energy at all going into that. J1, nice to have you in the house again too. DM, Debs, who else? Dave O's in the house. Mr. Grace from Pinaroo, I hope you are doing well, my friend, and hopefully there's been a little bit more rain that's actually made it your way. Fingers crossed. And we need to do a bit of a catch up with Tim and the crew from South Australia to find out how we're going with the ability to pressure the South Australian government into helping feed the animals over that side of the world. I do have some pictures, not here tonight to show you, but Pete did send me some pictures of just some of the stock that he's seen, sheep particularly. They are quite shocking. Tony, hope you're still well. Are you still in the Northern Rivers, mate? Silver Fox, nice to see you in. Also to the lovely Sandy Kay. God love you, woman, and the other half of you. He's a lovely man. I mean, you can love him a bit more than me in many ways, but he is my brother. I'm talking about the lovely Sandy and Baz from the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary. So lovely to have you back. It's been a fairly tumultuous few weeks for you and your family. So I know there's a lot of people here that wish you well, and I'm sure the donkeys are very happy to get you back. In fact, I have a little bit of a story to tell, which comes from Rachel, who was asking me about Disco. Now, for those of you who are wondering who Disco is a donkey that is at the sanctuary. And when I was down there not too long ago, we did a little story, which I will play again, or I have put up. Maybe I haven't put up individually. I will play again, though, because I've had a lot of people ask me to put it up again. There was a donkey there called Disco who wouldn't leave me alone. Was coming over, was nibbling at me, was playing, but always wanted to be near me. And I loved it because, you know, me and animals, pretty keen. But this one took a particular liking to me for some reason. And well, I won't go into it here, Sandy. I am going to tell you the story that Rachel's told me about Disco. Or, Rachel, unless you want to share it in the chat for everybody, you can do that because it'll take me far too long to relate it here. But if you like, so Disco and I'm now feeling very close to Disco, and believe it or not, I am looking for a disco ball to hang above the bus, but that's probably for a different reason. And no Priscilla intended. Nothing like that. Who else? Donna, lovely to see you in on Red Alerts in the house. Dusty, good to have you in. I'm trusting all things in your part of the world are going all right. You'd probably got a fair bit of rain down through your way at the moment too. I'm not going to say out loud where you are, but unless you're putting it up. G'day, Stu. Hope you are well. You know that little present that you sent me a little while back that you had used and had sent me some photos of? I had cause to use that, me and a friend. And I'll let you know quietly how it works out. However, I'd have to say not too bad if I was, you know, pointing at anything in particular. But yeah, I'd have to say it worked out all right. Hello, Peg. Just trying to catch up on a couple of things people are saying. G'day, Harm. Good to see you in the house too, mate. I hope Ebbs is going well. Ebony is Harm's dog, for those of you who are unaware. It's funny, you know, I find it a lot easier to remember the names of people with dogs. Who knew? Anyway, never forget Connie's name, though, and she has no dog. Well, she may have a dog, but I've not met her dog, if that is the case. I've just met her husband. He's a lovely man named Alan. G'day, Mr. Bill. Good to have you in the house. It is Friday, and you'd think I'd had a drink or two, but it isn't the case. The gorgeous Sunflower. I hope you are well, and Rick is well, and your grandbaby is very well, and your lungs in particular are good. Life, the universe, and everything goes well. I want to catch you up with Margie Sedgman, who's not very far from you. It's nice. There are people, very like-minded people in this family who, in some cases, live extremely close to each other and know each other. And this is in part how my place has come together and has been built, because there are so many people who didn't know that others felt like they do. And when my place was started by Darren Bergwerf in his factory in Frankston, it was to bring those people together. It was surprising. It started off with maybe 10 or 15 people. The next week there were 40. The next week there were 150. Next thing there were 250 people out the back, and they're all having very important discussions, knowing that, they're not alone, and they're sharing information, learning information, sharing, growing community. And it's important when you learn that there are some in the community that are very close together. In this family particularly, I like to try and hook you up. So as it turns out, Margie and Sunflower don't live too far from each other. And Sunflower is going to get a roaming visitor in the not too distant future. So am I. Look forward to sharing that with you when it all happens. And there'll be some alpaca vision coming your way shortly. Look, does anybody know how you wash an alpaca? I've got two very dirty, filthy, dirty alpaca. I don't know why they choose to lie in mud, but they do. And I don't know how to get them clean. You get close to them, they spit. Not necessarily at me. I've never been spat at by the alpaca, but they don't let me really touch them either. So I feel like squirting them with the hose isn't the right thing to make friends. So if there is a way to clean the alpaca, please email me, carl@vofhq.com. What the US down on margin calls, forcing gold sells. Okay. Yes, the markets, I think, have lost trillions of dollars after the announcement of Trump's Liberty Day tariffs. Now, a 10% tariff across everything that gets imported into the States. And for lucky countries like Australia, much greater tariffs, usually at about half the rate that we charge them. But because Australia doesn't import beef from America, there is no tariff on that. So they've decided that they're going to put a tariff on Australian beef, which I think they said they sold $3 billion worth of beef into the US market last year. I don't know that's an awful lot of beef. And I would have thought US cattle producers might be a bit concerned about that level of beef going into their country. We used to have a huge export market for beef into the Middle East and other places. I'm not sure if that still continues because, a lot of very righteous people got involved in the export boating part, at least, of the business, and discovered that there were some awful things happened to some animals in that transit process. I guess when you're transporting 15 or 20,000 animals on a ship, some do fall down, they do get squashed, they do die, and maybe they don't get found for a few days. Cruelty on board, yes, I think there probably was in certain areas. And was I unhappy to see, I think it was the export trade really buttoned up very tight. And I think while it does continue now, it continues at a much lesser rate. And there are very stringent controls and people on board to make sure all the animals are looked after. So it's made it much more costly as well. Has that been effective? Don't know. But the world market is opening up. The EU is buying more because, Albo's communist mates are in charge over there, and they're all happy to go and buy as much as they can. And of course, Australia is going to back Ukraine all the way. Rah 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 rah. Oh, God, it just leaves me for dead. I'm sorry. So just having a bit of a squeeze about some of if you've got any questions or anything. I was hoping that Vince would join me tonight, but by the sound of it, Vince is unable to join us. I haven't heard a word from him all afternoon, so my guess is he's probably having a good sleep. If that is the case, we'll have to talk about other things because I'd really lined up a show around him, funnily enough. He has been a bit of a star. You've still got the mirror ball, Daniel? How cool. I guess you're using it for the same reasons I am, I would be suspecting. Or the same reasons I would be requiring it. 100%, Rachel, we are being all called to protect ourselves more. And thank you for your advice. I really do appreciate it. Chris is in the house. Good to see you, mate. Haven't seen you for a while. There's the story about disco. Yes. So disco. I'm feeling very close to disco. Wonderful donkey down at the sanctuary. And hello to everybody who has been helping out the sanctuary too, where and when you can. Don't forget, we are still looking to try and raise some fundage for a new float. And while if we are able to build one, it's still going to require a certain amount of funding. So if you can help out, then you can go to their page and donate through there. I'm just scanning down, checking out who else is around. Nice to see Black Sheep in the house. Hope you are doing well, mate. Thank you for your advice. Yep, silver's down a little, but just good time to buy. You're right, because it just keeps going up. Pardon me. Watch the long trend. Don't watch it over the day or over the few days, even though I've said, yesterday it was $4 more, worth $4 an ounce more than it is today. Tomorrow, it could be worth $6 an ounce more than it is today. It could be worth $5, might be worth $6 less. Who knows? But the overall trend between, a year ago, or even the start of the year, I think Michael Engerman from Ainsley Bullion said last time we chatted at the beginning of the week that gold and silver had gone up something like, 30%, I think he said, for silver since the start of the year. Gold probably more so, given what's happened. So these little fluctuations, don't worry about that. The overall trend is up, 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 up. And superannuation, not necessarily the greatest way to have your money at the moment because it is being attacked. They're going to make it much more difficult for you to get all of the money you've put aside for your super. And of course, once you do get it, you're going to be taxed in various different ways, sales tax and God knows whatever else, while you make use of it. Well, if you've got a bit or all of it, whatever you can put into a self-managed super fund now, you have control of your wealth, not the super funds, not the government. If the government says all of a sudden we're going to tax people with, I don't know, $50,000 up to $50,000 in super, and we're going to take 20% of it, Big Super's just going to hand it over. But if you've got it in a self-managed super fund, you don't. So, as I said, Gympie is the place to be this weekend. It is happening from 1 o'clock. Put that up again, if I can put it up. There it is. It's happening at 1 o'clock at 735 Mary Valley Road, Long Flat in Queensland. The team from Ainsley Bullion will be there, and so too will Mary Jane. That's where I'm getting the Mary Valley Road all screwed up. Mary Jane from Freedom Financial Solutions will also be there to answer any questions you have about self-managed super funds. And depending on what's happening in the world, I might even pop along as well. I'm helping a friend move tomorrow. I've got to drive a truck and lift heavy weights for a while. Now, if I'm capable of finishing that at a reasonable hour, there is a chance I might just jump in the car and head north and stay at a friend's place on the way up and pop into that event on Sunday and say hi. So I will let you all know through a live that I'll do on the VOF channel on YouTube if that is the case. And I'll try and use a phone or talking implement. Might have to be the iPad, something that works. For some reason, my mobile phone microphone no longer wants to play on YouTube. It is the weirdest thing. There is just this, if you probably heard it, just this strange little noise, background electronic noise, almost like it's being blocked. Who knew? Sandy. Oh, that's lovely of you. Yeah, Cass and her team have helped out Sandy and Baz, true. So, yeah, find out how they can help you out too. If you haven't done it yet, easy done. Go and check them out. And what else do I have up here just while I'm thinking about things to show? Oh, no, I can't show you that. No, on, show you that. Okay, I think I can probably take one of my windows down now. So, as for what's going on in the world, well, madness does appear to be the case in many, many instances. I don't know about you. There is, for me, the most concern at the moment seems to be the absolute madness that is coming out of Europe and the European Union. And the woman in charge of the European Union, Madame von Stick-Up-Her-Arsen, I think she's the woman I was trying to find the name for the other night, that may or may not actually be directly related to Hitler, one of his 3 daughters that got involved in politics. Now, the European Union seems to be happily wending its way towards madness, and I am fortunate that I have friends in many parts of Europe, both professional and personal and family, particularly in Germany, who I have reached out to and tried to gain some sort of an idea of the general feeling of the people in these nations. Now, recently I've spoken to people in the UK, I've spoken to people in France, I've spoken to people in Germany, and I've spoken to one person in Prague who tells a story there that their leadership is doing everything they can to push back against the European Union and are being actively hounded down by all the other members. In England, the people, according to my friends in England, the people there have given up on any common sense, any sense of decency coming from their government. Keir Starmer is, well, variously referred to as a laughingstock or a madman. The people in France, who hitherto have, I've got to say, been fairly big supporters might be a hard word, but at least supporters of Macron, have no support left for him and none for the government in control. The people are being ignored. The government are doing what they like, same as what they're doing in the UK. The people cannot be heard. The government are doing what they like. Where does this sound familiar? And in Germany, it's even worse. In Germany, the people have tried to rise up and they are being actively put down. I think it's happened in the UK as well. Ireland is screaming for help. They've actively reached out to America, to Donald Trump, actively to break up, come in and help them solve their problems. I know that people in Australia here have reached out to Trump and the Q organization for the same kind of help. And good luck to them. A great effort to make the effort, because there are many who haven't made any effort at all to do any bloody thing. So I commend anybody who's actually trying to do something. All power to you. And many of you are trying to do things, whether it's trying to wake people up in your family, in your neighborhood, in your town, or just in your online presence. Whether you're pushing back against the bureaucracy, whether you're fighting them at every turn, whether you're considering to vote or not to vote, which I must admit, last Friday night's show has, I think, been seen probably close to 10,000 times across the different channels that we have. And a lot of comments have been made about it. It does tend to create some polar responses. But I was very pleased to see that there were a number of people who swung from their former side to the other side. And that worked for both arguments, may I also say. I would also like to say thank you to everybody who mentioned what a great conversation it was, not necessarily a debate, but a great conversation that it was, that 3 mates could have. I didn't have much by way of conversation in it, though. and everybody walks away friends. It goes to show that we can have polar opposite opinions on things while we agree on so many others, and still we can agree to work together. And that's what we've seen. So next week, I will be talking to a couple of candidates for the Heart Party, two people that you may know already. And I found out today that a third friend, or at least former friend, I think she's still a friend, of the Voice of Freedom, is running down in New South Wales. That would be Michelle Palmer. So if you happen to be in the Katoomba area, she's sort of in the Blue Mountains on the way up there, loves riding her Indian motorcycle, and be aware she has a couple of her posters, I gather, zip tied onto the bike somewhere on the back there. So you will see her riding around up around Sydney. Be prepared. If you see her, that's Michelle. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady, and would represent the people amazingly well. She's also an amazing singer. So just a little bit of news, if you need someone at a party, I reckon she can also organise a bit of a rock night out. She's a real rock chick, but a great and strong representative for her community down in that part of the world as well. Okay, getting weird messages from strange people. Actually, not strange people. I think that one actually came from Ramona. We'll be having another chat with her. Depending on what happens, if I wind up in Gympie, it might be at a different time. But we will wind up having a chat with Mona at some stage over the weekend too. So looking forward to catching up with her. If you've been following that, we've had, I think, two sessions now where we've been talking about fiduciary duty and common law and a few other different bits and pieces. So interesting times if you're into that sort of thing and want to learn a little bit. We do have a new T-shirt. Did I show you this? I think I've shown you that before. Australia, Land of the Fee. It's a bit of a pity that the fee goes over the Tasmania bit. We might have to rejig that just a fraction. However, it couldn't be more appropriate, don't you think? Going into this time where the governments are promising everything, they have no money. All the money they get comes from we, the people. And they get that money by charging us fees. And the more ridiculous, the better at the moment. Fees like the view tax that is being put on people who live above or own apartments above the 40th floor on anything on the Gold Coast. And of course, it's not just the 40th floor. From the 11th to the 30th or to the 40th floor, there are different varying fees for the view that you get. Now, if you live on the ground floor and are looking at the bottom end of a palm tree and a lot of dead palm fronds on your lawn, you get a fee for that too, I believe. But that's just called a rise in your rates. So that's just one example of one of the fees that we are being hit with. And I'm sure you can level 100 other council fees that you really shouldn't need to pay. Fees like, somebody was telling me the other day they had to have a fee, had to pay a fee to get a permit to do something to a car. Now, there's something that they needed to do. I think that might have been the Cranbourne issue. And somebody was still saying that there was a problem in the Casey Shire. This was probably a week or two ago, because I know that has been paused, at least for the moment. But yeah, they had to get a permit to change the oil in the car. And that fee. Well, councils are putting those kinds of fees all over you. In fact, right at the moment, on the Clarence River, council is imposing some more fees, and state government fees, these ones, I think, not local council. The Clarence River, for those of you unaware, is in northern New South Wales. It's a big river, beautiful river. I've only ever driven over it. I've never been on it. But I know that it's very suitable for people with yachts to go cruising on. There are some big bridges that you can get under with big masted vessels. And it makes its way down to Maclean, South Maclean. You get all the way to Grafton, I think, with a yacht, if you want. Pardon me, from the ocean. Beautiful part of the world. Now, apparently, there was a time where you could pull up, drop anchor for 28 days anywhere on the Clarence River, and have no problems at all, and then pull anchor, pick up, move on, and drop anchor somewhere else and stay as long as you like. Well, things have changed, and now council or state government officers are issuing fines, and I think the first fine is $500 if you overstay. The second fine is $5,500, and the third fine is seizure of the vessel. And then you get lumbered with all the fees associated with them seizing the vessel and taking control of it, which you can be guaranteed will have a lot of the Masonic filth involved in the background, rubbing their hands together, because this is a nice way of extracting a bit more money from we the people. So no longer can you stay 28 days on the Clarence River and pick up anchor and drop somewhere else on the Clarence River and stay again. Oh, no. Not unless you're prepared to pay lots of fees or fines. Permits required now to stay at these anchorages. So you can help yourself by expressing your displeasure. Australia, land of the fee. And it's got, of course, the Voice of Freedom thing on the front of it. And we have a new website, which, if you've taken any notice of the ticker down the bottom, is there. It's merch.vofhq.com. And Vince has put in a huge amount of work on this. Go and have a look at the selection of colours available for these shirts. And I've forgotten to ask him, but I'm sure he'll get this message. You will be able to order this Land of the Fee is a hoodie coming up for winter as well. And I've got to tell you, our hoodies are warm as, really, really warm as. And we could really do with the support. So we don't make much out of them, but every one sold goes to a bloody good cause or a bloody big fuel tank. And there will be a fair bit of fuel getting used in the near future. More on that coming up. I do have something I wanted to share with you too from the Gold Coast. I was yesterday out for a number of meetings. That's why I didn't get back for a show last night. And if I had a mobile phone that could have told you that, I would have, but waste of time. So I apologize. But I pulled up at an intersection where there must be, look, if I'd been conservative in saying 25,000 cars a day pull up at this intersection. And this sign had fake news written right in the middle of it. It just made me smile. And it made me think, well, the message is getting out there wider, more often, and in various funny places. I haven't seen too much graffiti of it yet, but I've got to admit, I don't really go around looking for it. Are you seeing more overt fake news or more truth in public places around where you are? If you are, please take a photo and email it to me, carl@vofhq.com. I would very much appreciate it. And we'll share a few of them here. So we'll see what goes on. Just having a bit of a glance through your questions. What's the update on the GMO mozzies? I don't know. Sunflower doing that one, or am I telling you about it? The GMO mozzies, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, are being released in far north Queensland, or that was the plan. We are hearing at the moment scary stories about Japanese encephalitis, I think it is, that mosquitoes are carrying. And look, there is a lot of dead, still water in various places, many, many, many places around Queensland at the moment. And yes, that sort of water does breed mosquito larvae terribly well. Japanese encephalitis was, I want to say, first thrown up a year or two ago in far north Queensland. And I'm unaware, I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but I'm unaware that there have been any real bad, if any, cases of it reported in human beings. There has been some instance of something to do with this with cattle, I believe, but that was only in far north Queensland. And it may have been, now that I think about it, just with buffalo, water buffalo in far north Queensland. But if you've got mozzie larvae around your house, if you've got still water, then please get rid of it. It's much easier to get rid of the Aussies or get rid of where they breed than trying to get rid of them later. Oh, look out. Hang on. Sunflower's been listening to Tim Cohen. I haven't listened to that. You'll have to send me the link. Might be very interesting. Was it Donald Trump? Because I believe most people say it is. And I think there's more to be revealed. Much more to be revealed. Oh, g'day, Wild Aussie Woman. Nice to see you in the chat. Haven't seen you in a little while. Speckensy Dutch. No, I don't, Tony. A little bit Speckensy Deutsch. 9. Well, I can say buttermilk sugar. Please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good night. Good morning. And I could probably swear in German if I had to, if somebody made me. That's why I'm very fortunate in that the people that I know in Germany grew up learning English as their when we were in school, we had to learn Indonesian. There was no other language to learn when I grew up, just had to learn Indonesian. In Germany, they grew up English. Everybody had to learn English. And then if you chose, you could go and learn other languages. But they also went to school 6 days a week, which I've got to admit, when I was over there, I found a bit hard to swallow. And they still do, I think, 6.5 or 5.5 or 6 days a week they go to school. Very smart people, and their sense of humor is to be acquired. Our Australian sense of humor is sometimes lost on my German friends, but then again, it's also sometimes lost on you guys. So we'll see how it travels. On Guru's channel last night, they said 40% of people will not be voting Labor, Liberal, or Teals or Greens. Well, I would be aiming for hopefully more than that, but 40% would be an awesome number, and let's encourage that. If you're going to vote, if that's the way you're going to go, then and if you were thinking about, donkey voting, drawing a dick on your vote and just doing that, don't do that. That is, I find myself conflicted. I don't really want to tell you to go and vote, but if you are going to go and vote and just going to make it a donkey vote, don't. Vote for the independent. And if there isn't an independent for you to vote for, then maybe one of these Heart Party people, one of these People First Party people, hopefully there will be somebody other than the majors that you can vote for. If you happen to live in an area where there is only a Liberal, a Labor, a Teal, or a Green, with maybe one independent, Joe Bloggs from the, I Hate Everybody party, then I'd sort of give my vote to the least offensive of them if I had to. But stay away from the Liberals, stay away from the Labors, stay away from the Greens and the Teals and the Nationals. The idea that they're actually going to do anything and change anything is ludicrous. I was watching something the other day where there was a great discussion about what level of difference we need to make. Where and how would the difference be appreciated? And I would tend to agree that what we as a group should be aiming to do is make sure that the majors and their minion parties get the lowest recorded vote in history. Now, that doesn't mean that one of them isn't going to rule in a minority government. What we have to avoid at all costs, although it could be interesting because it would be possible, for the Labor Nationals and the, I beg your pardon, the Liberal Nationals and the Labor Greens I mean, it would be an awful thing to see, but they could form a minority government together if the votes went that way. How awful would that? We'd have a uni party then for sure, wouldn't we? It would divide the parliament. It would certainly show who was for the people and who wasn't. But if we can get those major parties with the lowest votes in history, then we'll go a long way to being able to create at least a party that should begin to be for we the people rather than ignoring us. But there are others who rightly believe you're just playing into the treason and committing treason by turning up, getting your name crossed off. We're all going to do what we're going to do. I'm not going to tell you what you should or you shouldn't do in this regard. This is a decision for you. If you have your own opinions, you should also have the conviction and the courage of them. So all power to you, whichever way you decide to do it. All I'm saying is that if you thought, oh, did I just disappear again? If you thought, I did. Oh, look, Vince has turned up. Vince has turned up. I've disappeared. The waving wonder has woken up. You start talking and I'll be back in a second.
Well, you're still talking. We can hear you, but you just can't see your mouth moving, which is something different. Hey, team, how are you all? Sorry about that. Been spending a lot of nights putting in various variations of T-shirts and stuff for you guys to have a look at on the merch store. So I tend to be sleeping during the day, and I literally just woke up. So Carl is not incorrect in that. I jumped on before he sent me a link, and I went, "Oh, should I or shouldn't I drop in?"
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm sorry to wake you up like that.
Oh, you didn't wake me up, mate. My phone was on silent, so I apologise for that.
There you go. Well, I just wanted to commend you on your work because the new merch store just, looks great. And I thought your pink for the ladies' shirt was a spectacular choice, and I'm a bit of a fan of the duck egg blue for the boys.
Right, you were really telling me that you like the actual musky pink and bright pink colours for yourself, Carl. I'm pretty sure you mentioned that.
Well, ladies tell me I look good in pink. I don't look good much, so I take the compliment where I can get it. So, and I'm a man. I can wear pink. I don't care. Doesn't worry me. I don't think it's a poofta color. Oh, you're allowed to say that these days? I probably got banned for saying that. But I was saying it in a positive way. So, yeah, stupid. Anyway, you've done a great deal of work here, and it is so easy to go in and see what. Well, if I click on the right button, it's so easy to go in and pick what you want to do. Choose your shirt. Lots of different colors, as I say. Should be one to fit one color for just about everybody concerned. As you flick through, sizes, and then how you pay going through there. So, pretty easy. And
so we've set it up. The one thing to understand is that our members get free postage on these. However, being that it's a separate website to our membership website, I have to manually do that. So what will happen is for those who are members, I will actually refund you the postage when it comes up in the bill, and it won't be initially. I have to check you off manually first. So it just means that you'll pay for the actual postage, and then I'll refund that back to your account afterwards. But yeah, that's just the start of things to come. Now that we have an official merch store, we can start making more merch. Everything's on pre-order, which means effectively you make your order, then we order it because we do not have stock. So there will be a delay. So please understand that.
But they're being made in Adelaide, and go to Vince, and we'll be looked after from there. We'll get some bags and post them out and make sure you get them as soon as we get them, sort of thing. And tell us what else you'd like. There's stubby holders we can get. There are cups and mugs and all sorts of things. And we do have quite a few other. This is just like the first one. We do have quite a few other ideas for memes and stuff that we've had in the past. We'll put on the shirts and call them conversation starters. I think that's a nice way of putting it, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it's there for.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
make people think.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, before you woke up, I was explaining that last week's Friday night show with you and Darren has had a big reaction. Have you seen or had much reaction yourself that you've noticed this last week?
Still that argument about whether to vote or not to vote. Look, I can't tell anybody what to do in that respect. It's up to them. My personal opinion, as I've said, is that I don't like, there's not much we can do about the lower house because it always votes. You have to vote for every candidate in the lower house. You don't have a choice. And I think if you want to make a difference, it's in the Senate where you can stop your vote. Maybe I'll do a show on FBN about exactly how that voting works. I do have a spreadsheet for it. But it's up to people. Know full well it's a corporate government, right? It's controlled, etc. in that respect. Will they cheat in the Senate? Don't know. Can't tell. But unless we try, we're not going to know either. So make up your own mind, guys. Fairly simple. That's how it runs. Choose to vote or not to vote. Probably save your money and at least get yourself marked off. But even people have a challenge with that. So as for a crypto that was question asked, I literally haven't been really following crypto much. I've had to spend most of my crypto to survive at the moment. I don't think it's over yet. I think we'll see a run towards the end of the year, personally, but that's all I know at this stage.
So it's in the down cycle at the moment, is it?
It's sort of in an up and down area between, the 80,000 American and 100,000. It's just waving itself around there, mostly at the bottom of that wave. So
in general, though, over the last 12 months or so, the inclination is up?
Well, it's been high. It's come down. I'm still, even as I've sold, I've had to sell just to live because, things are bloody expensive.
Yeah.
But I've sold above what I bought for. So either way, I've come up. It's very much like silver, right? I'm hanging on to my silver because for me, the silver that I got, I bought back when it was $32 an ounce.
Yeah, right. Yep.
All right. So
yeah,
that's a good savings. So thank you very much, Ainsley. That's all I can say to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And AinsleyBullion.com.au. You can buy online. Don't forget to mention me or the Voice of Freedom in the notes section there, and you'll get a little discount. And look, it's only a tiny discount, but you're not going to get a discount buying precious metals from anybody else. So,
true.
I figure that's pretty good incentive. And of course, the Ainsley Saver that they do is bloody great because you can put in, $20, $50 a week, and it just gathers a little momentum and sits there, and eventually you'll have enough to go in and say, I'll convert that into a coin, thanks, and walk out the door with it. So, or you can convert it into crypto if that's what you desire. If you've got crypto and want to put it into the precious metals, you can do that too. It's a really, really, really flexible tool for particularly people like me who don't have much money and maybe get a little bit now and again where I can put $20 a week in or $10 or $15 a month or whatever it is. And it just adds up and gives me a nice warm little feeling when I see the price going up and up and up. So, yeah, always nice. I was going to ask you something important about something. Now, tariffs. Now, of course, Liberty Day has happened in America. Trump has announced that our tariffs are going off, or tariffs are going up around the world for everybody, 10% on everything that's put into America, and for lucky countries like Australia, things like our aluminium and steel, which we didn't put that much into America, I don't think, but that's going to be 25%. We're apparently going to suffer a... there was a story about the penguins from Heard Island and McDonald Island down near Antarctica, that there was going to be an extra tax on the fish that get caught there, not the penguins. So apparently Patagonian toothfish, and there's something else that they catch out of there too. There's 2 Australian companies involved, one out of Perth, one out of Hobart, longline fishermen who catch these Patagonian toothfish, and it's a pretty high-end fish. They have high-end markets. Pretty sure they'll be able to absorb that little 10% extra kick on that. You may not get it served to you on your Qantas jet anymore, but the high-end restaurants will certainly have it. But those taxes are affecting many businesses, or they say they're going to affect many businesses. Do you think we're going to see this kickstart a bit of bloody patriot manufacturing activity in this country?
One would bloody hope so. That's the whole reason that Donald Trump's done tariffs, that I can see, is to bring back home the manufacturing.
Yeah.
Right. Which is
force
something
us into starting to build and use our own products.
Yeah, we should be doing that now. I've said that right back from when I first ran for an election. We need to bring our infrastructure back to us. We need to bring our ownership back to us for our water, for our oil, for our gas, for everything. Now, I'm not running in a political scene at all this time around at all, so just be aware that this is my personal opinion. But, you know, if we were to there, car manufacturing's a classic. Right, no tariffs on car manufacturing, so we went broke. Right, we didn't have our own cars anymore, and we still don't. There were so many jobs that have been lost. No Holdens, no Fords. Right, massive manufacturing plants, and there's lots. We shouldn't be just selling our ore. Shouldn't just be going overseas and then we buy it back as steel. We should be manufacturing it as steel. Now, tariffs stop cheap imports. Right, because they have to pay so much on it. It makes our own economy match. Is it going to cost more initially? Probably yes. But are there going to be more people suddenly working with a job? Yes. So that's just where I think they are. Yeah,
Craig
well,
has a good
wages
point.
are only too high because they're getting wages from cheap China.
Hang on.
If that makes sense.
You've lost me with that. Wages in
Our
Australia
wages
are too high.
Our wages appear high because everything we buy comes from overseas where wages are cheap, like in China. That's why the products are cheaper. Right? They're making massive. Like the iPhone, for instance, it costs $10 to build an iPhone in China. We pay $1,400 for an iPhone. Why?
Comes in a really nice box.
True. Right. Probably the box is the most expensive part of it.
I don't think it comes with a charger these days, does it?
No, it doesn't. They got rid of that as well. So, but understand that there's a lot of people over there that make these things and they're made really, really cheaply. But we pay a lot for it. And that's what Donald Trump's trying to do, is he's trying to bring it back so that the costs of those goods become as cheap to buy or make in the country where they live, therefore giving people wages, which means that they've got money to spend. It's a reciprocal circle type thing. So, Vince request for selfies for crypto site accounts now. How do we not comply? What? So
nowadays,
money laundering laws, you have to apply unless you want to choose one that doesn't have one. I don't have a challenge giving them my crypto account. I'm not hiding from government what I'm doing. So
it's not just government that are doing it, though. There are crypto sites that if you're going to join, you have to set up holding a selfie of yourself over your license and that kind of thing. So So that's a law now, is it?
Yeah, money. It's all to do with money laundering laws. All the banks are doing it as well. I've had my bank want to reconfirm who I am, even though I've been with them for 25 years. So, go figure.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I wasn't aware of that, and I don't think I've been asked. Well, I know I haven't been asked by the ANZ, but then again, I've never got any money in the ANZ, so they probably don't care. Yeah. Oh well, bit of fun.
Know your customer. It's been around for a while. They are laws that actually exist.
Yeah, true. All right, so going forward, we've got an election campaign. I've got to admit, I have absolutely no interest in hearing the lies and the deceptions and the mistruths and anything else coming from the major parties. Have you heard anything out of the minors that has attracted your attention?
No, nothing at all. I've been not following it a lot. I mean, we've got an independent running in Spence down here for Adelaide area in the federal, which you might want to invite on the show at some stage if you get half a chance. And then we've got the parties. I think the way they've redone it this year is different. It just doesn't. There's not as much coming out, or is it that we've just all the people who know the truth have just tuned out? I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I tend to skip anything that Dutton has to say or the Libs or Labors has to say because the minute they move their mouth, I know that it's not truthful. So, yeah.
There's a lot of talk still about manufacturing in the chat. A lot of people saying, "Well, we never had a car industry." Well, what we had was, money essentially coming from
My
America.
Commodore out in my shed says different.
Yeah. And we did have an industry. However, the Labor government under the red-headed clown funded them $20 million, I think, to keep in Australia. And the car company said, "Oh, great." So they kept the doors open another 12 months or thereabouts, and then they closed them again anyway. They'd given undertakings. They'd taken that money from the Australian people via the government to make sure that our car manufacturing business stayed open. So GM and Ford both took that money and both left. Now,
Yep.
Nissan, I don't think, had been manufacturing in this country for a number of years. And Adelaide was not just the home of Mitsubishi, and I think Nissan might have manufactured there. Holden manufactured bits there too.
Elizabeth was just about a whole manufacturing plant.
Yeah.
Has complete cars up in Adelaide. So,
yeah. Pumping, and the subsidiary industries, VDO used to do all the speedos and tacos and all that sort of stuff. The glass manufacturers were all businesses located in and around Adelaide, huge manufacturing businesses. The steel was sometimes, in fact, I think, sourced from north of Adelaide. Was it Port Augusta that had the steelworks?
Yep.
Or Whyalla?
Some of Whyalla and Port Augusta.
Yeah. So
I
think they closed the Whyalla, the last part of the Whyalla Steelworks. I think it was only closed recently. Why?
Well, because
is the world not buying steel anymore?
This is where tariffs comes into it, right? Because we were making our own cars and doing a really good job with it, etc. Everybody likes the Commodore because it's a reasonable car, it's cheap, and the same with the Ford, which is found on rubbish dump, but we won't say that. That's just for us Commodore people. But the thing was that other cars were coming in, like the Toyotas and whatever, and they were coming into the country and cheaper to buy than our own homemade cars, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have tariffs on them. That made them equal price.
Yep.
And what do? Everybody is looking for the cheaper option. We always buy cheaper. Right, it's the same with all the electronics that come in through nowadays. The reason why inflation looks so good is because a lot of the electronic stuff, your computers and your phones, all that stuff, are a lot cheaper to buy than what they really are. whereas our cost of living, that's buying our milk, our food, etc., is massively up. But when you add the two together, it drops the price, and that's what the government bullshits us on. So,
Yeah.
just my opinion. I am I'm just an observer of this economy.
Yeah, well, an observer and a participant, unwillingly so.
Valid point.
Yeah, but it is. Quite rightly, somebody pointed out there that the Lima Agreement was the beginning of all this bastardry, and
Yep.
I couldn't agree more. The world looks like it's changing, though, and these
Trump's
tariffs
changing at his end. We're not doing anything ours.
Well, sometimes I think it takes a little bit of time to get the wheel turning, as we've discovered with so much of what we do. But this is a big push. All those mums and dads who've got super still involved with big super, all those mums and dads who've got stocks who've just taken a huge hit in the markets over the last 3 or 4 days. I mean, you've only taken a huge hit if you sell. They might come back. You never know.
Come back.
But there'll be a lot of companies that don't come back, and a lot of banks, I think, in America are pretty concerned about it at the moment too. So I don't know. We always said April was going to be a big month. The date I kept getting told, you know me and dates, but I'll tell it to you, was the 11th. So we're a few days off that yet, and what's that put it somewhere middle to end of next week. So we'll have to wait and see how that appears. But certainly the market's up, down, up, down, up, down at the moment. And a lot of people with a lot of money are throwing it into the markets to try and prop it up. Where's that money coming from? And is it real money, or is it just bits of paper that are in fact worthless? I think a lot of us are believing it is worthless. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, at this part of the thing, just surviving is a battle for the average Australian nowadays. Just surviving.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You're 100% right there. Speaking of just surviving, I'm starving, so I'm going to go off and have some dinner.
You know what that means? I've got to do this.
See you, mate. Thanks for coming on. The Waving Wonder has departed for the evening, folks. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll let you know if I manage to get toward Gympie and be up there for Sunday afternoon. That is 1 o'clock at 735 Mary Valley Road, Long Flat, up Gympie Way. And look forward to seeing you there if you can make it, and if I can make it. If not, you'll see Mary Jane. Say hi from me. And the team from Ainsley Bullion, God love them, ainsley.bullion.com.au, the people to go to if you want to get a little bit of a discount in your purchasing of precious metals. You can also help us out by checking out the new merch site, merch.vofhq.com. And, of course, vofhq.com is always available for you to peruse. We've got a few little things we've put up recently. And if you can help us out, the donate button is there. But we'd always love you to be a member. And you can join from as little as $2.50, I think it is. So look forward to having you as part of the team. Enjoy your weekend. And if you are going to be out on the roads, avoid the dickheads. I'll be one of them tomorrow driving a truck. Look out.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!